Okay. So today we'll learn how to create some sound, what is music, what is note, and how can you just use that knowledge to build your own synthesizer. So the first thing to know is just to learn what is sound. So basically, sound is a variation of pressure in the air over time. So let's say you have here time, here you have the pressure, and so the sound will be a variation of pressure in the air over the time. But this value is continuous. So you cannot, with this value, create sound with a computer, because you know computer works with discrete amount of time. So you will need to do some kind of sampling, which is basically just use only few values of the real sound, either to record it or to create this value to create sound. So basically, this sampling rate is most of the time about this value and there's a reason for that. It's because of the Shaniquist theorem, which says if you want to sample something, you have to sample it twice as the highest frequency you want to capture. So our ears can only hear that much. So if we double that, we obtain this value, and that it explains why we need to sample to precisely these values. Some other systems, fancier system, want us to sample with these values or these sampling rates, but basically that's for professional audio and you can't hear the difference. It's when you're working on audio software, it can create some interference, makes the sound richer, but your ear you cannot hear it. So it's for technical aspects. How do we talk to our sound card? To talk to our sound card, we need to precise the sampling rate, and you need to tell another value, which is the definition of the sound, which is basically how I will on which the precision I have when I will record my sound. So it's basically this on this axis. So on previous 8-bit systems, you know, if I draw this sound again, here on this axis you can only have 256 values. And that's why the sound is crappy on Game Boys and stuff. That's because you cannot render a sound with a beautiful sound. Today we are using, there are several ways to use the sound card. So, so one I like is to use 16 bits. Sine 16 bits with an integer. You can also use floats doubles with different representations, big engine, little engine. What I prefer is just a matter of taste. Is 16 bits. Little engine because you know x86 CPU, and sine. So our work will be just to output 16-bit values at the correct sampling rate to create our sounds. Okay? For this, I will use Linux, because I just don't know how to make it with kind of Windows, and it's not my favorite development environment. So I will use Linux, and I will use a simple utility called Play, which stands for ALSA Player. ALSA is sound engine of Linux, which is ALSA Player, which just reads on the user on the standard input and send it to the sound card, and you can use a lot of different ways to talk to our sound card. Those for now, those for us, all the technical stuff we don't want to do. So if we look at the option we can give, we can just give the sampling rate as I just explained to you, and we can give the format. And so what I will be using will just be the format, so signed 16 bits little engine with a sampling rate of this frequency, okay? And let's just make a test. What happens when I just send random sounds to ALSA Player? Okay. It was just working a few seconds ago. Okay. Yay, I had to use unsigned random. So I'm generating this garbage, which is just what I asked for, random sound, random things. It's just called a white noise. White noise. Sorry. So I will use the C programming language for a simple reason. It's fast, and we are doing real-time audio, so we need something fast. Let's just create a random main, simple main, and we will need the mass library. Okay, and we can know write values. To our standard output. Like simple thing. we can just output a sample. We have this. I'm actually not sure about the other, but we'll figure it out. What the hell? And so we'll need to understand a little more math. So, what do I write in my file? That's a good question. And basically, we'll have to understand a little more things. We'll have to understand a number of things. If I want to generate a simple sinus sound, why a sinus, I will explain that later. But let's say I have a sinus, and let's say here is 0, and here it's 2 pi. Okay, let's have, I don't know if you can, yeah, if you can read well. So the real challenge will be how to make this period be the right frequency in an iterative manner. So if you want to generate this sound, we'll first have to output this 0, then to output this value, then this one, and this one, and this one, this one, etc. At just regular interval of time. Okay? Don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat, guys. And the question will be, how much do I have to advance on this 0 to 2 pi value to create the sound the frequency I want? Because this interval of time is fixed. This interval of sound is just about 1 over 44,100. So this is fixed, and what we will need to understand is just on this, how much do I have to advance on this value? Because if I want something, a higher sound, you know, you see it's not the same advancement on the sinus. So how do we compute this value? So it's not really difficult. It's just simple math. We have this value will be about, so that's what I will call so phi for phases, and incrementation. How much do I increment the phases at every interval of time? It's basically 2 pi times f. F is the frequency we want, divided by the sampling frequency. Okay, so let's try this. let's try this. Let's just have an infinite loop. Let's have the phases starting to 0 and have the increment value we were talking about. Let's also have a target for frequency. So if you're a musician, you will know why I will choose 440 Hertz as a test frequency, just because this is the frequency you use as a reference. So 2 times m pi times the frequency divided by our sampling rate. And let's just get the value back. Output the phases, increments the phases by the increments. And here we will need to talk to our sound card. Okay, so, but I say that our sound card works with sine short. So that's really simple. What I will do is just, instead of keeping float, we'll keep our short and we'll multiply our sinus with max short. Okay, short max. Include, and we will need limits the h to define what's going wrong. Okay, it's not happy because it wants me to put this. What? Okay. Don't be stupid, man. That does not exist. It's the frequency. Okay, great. And it's happy about short max. Let's try it max short now. Okay, I'll just write the value. So if I remember correctly, the max values of an unsigned short is about 60,535, and I will just divide this by 2. Okay. Great. Oh, it's called. Okay. Okay. And let's try this. Let's output our value. Init.h. Okay. Got it. So what you can hear right now is just our frequency. It's just 440 Hertz. We can do better things. So we did a start with the sinus. It's because of a discovery, a guy named, how do you pronounce that in English? I don't know. Called Fourier, I think. This guy just was, studying frequencies and all this stuff, and he discovered something and it just discovered that every sound, everything, could be described by a sum of sinus. So every sound, let's say I have something like y of t, and every sound can be described with a varying amount of sinus. So A, I, sinus T plus phases, and I forgot the most important thing. The frequency. F I. So I started using a sinus because it's just the simplest sound possible. We can do more things. And we can just sum a lot of sinus to create richer sounds. If we had more sinus, we create what we call harmonics, and we create a richer sound. So we have some more bass sounds. If you had more sinus, you will have richer sounds, which sound every time different. We can just do that, but it will be really expensive in terms of computing, because sinus is quite heavy to compute, and it will be really hard for us to design the sound we want with just plenty of sinus operation. Actually, that was one of the first way electronic synthesizer was well built in electronics, and they added up to 64 oscillators, 64 sinus, which you can just tune manually every one of them, just to create the sound you want. That was really boring. It was just costly in terms of electronics, because you needed 64 oscillators, and for computers it does not scale well either. So we just had something, another approach. We just said, okay, start with a richer sound, something with a huge lot of harmonics, and let's just subtract some to this. Let's just subtract frequencies with a filter to modulate the sound as we want. So we will take this approach, but I won't talk about filters during the stream, because it's complicated and it's hard math, and you have to be familiar with Laplace transforms and Z transform and this kind of things. So I won't talk about this during the stream. But we can use some other simple sounds. So this is a sinus, okay? And we can create a square wave. So mathematically, the square wave is just summing every odd frequency of the frequency we want. So let's say I want an A440 hertz like I had before, but with a square waveform. I will need to sum every odd multiple of 440, so 880 and stuff. And let's see how it works. So I will have this sinus, okay, and I will add another sinus, which is this another. Oh, I'm not sorry for for the drawings actually. And we see that if I do it that way, and if I draw my sinus all the way better, yeah, and okay, we'll see that the sum, let's just use another color for the sum, will look something like this. Oh, like this. Like this. And this. And if we add all the frequencies, we'll see that it will the angle will sharpen here, and this will actually flatten, and we will approximate this square waveform. So we won't do it that way. We will instead just create, because we are in a digital world, so we can just create the square waveform we want and just use it that way. We're not bound to the to the sinus. So we'll change a little the formula, and instead of using the sinus, we'll just use a ternary condition and see if the phases is above n pi. Let's just return 1, and if it's not, just return -1. You can see how that generates a square waveform. So let's back over drawings. Pi is here, 0 is here, and 2 pi is here. So we can listen to that. And there's no sound. Why? Okay. Maybe not by one. What's going wrong? Again? Oh, yeah. If I do that. Okay. I don't know what this that was gone. But now you can see the sound is different. Just you can hear it's different. we have other waveforms. We can use other standard waveforms. There's also this triangle waveform. Okay. This, this triangle waveform, or there's also the well-known sawtooth. So if you have a little of imagination, this sounds like kind of a flute, but not really well. This is purely synthetic sound, but it kind of sound, still, if you have imagination, like a violin. So we can just try them out. So let's start with so let's give them. So we had sinus of the phases, the square, and this one is a little trickier. Okay. We can take the absolute value of what? 2 times. Yeah, exactly. Of 2 times the phases divided by 2 pi, and just to prevent an off by 1 error, which to prevent an overflow. So what I have in the absolute function is just taking the phases and sharpening it, and let's do this too. Actually, I have a blog which explains everything. I will give you the link later. And now, you can hear it's still another sound, a little different. I told you you had to have imagination to make it sound like a violin. And the last one, so this is the triangle, and the sawtooth is really simple. It's just the phases divided by 2 pi, and you're done. So once we have that, we can start doing, yeah, sawtooth is the best way. Actually, I agree. We can do better things. We can do things. Yeah. We can do interesting things like, okay, shorts and shorts. thankfully it was working. So we can create a simple offset on the phases. Which could just be the frequency divided by 100. Yeah, obviously. What's wrong? F undeclared, yeah, it's because it's called frequency. And we can mix the sounds to make something more interesting. So I'm doing the average of these two sounds. It's to prevent overflows, but it's basically what we call a mixer, which because it just mixes several sound sources. You will hear the sound is much lower, but there's no smart way to have a mixer which does not overflow without doing just the average of all of the inputs. If you're into music, you know we can use a compressor, but using compressor implies understanding derivative of the sounds over the time, so it's more it's harder to implement just a div div 2. So sounds a little different. It's maybe too big. Yeah, you can maybe hear the sound is a little different. I can. What? No. I like to find a good value to hear that we can really detune the sound, the sound. Always just have another kind of sound. Yeah. Value 1, value 2, compile, and the sound is different. So starting from now, you may want to do notes. I mean, several notes. So remember, a note is a frequency. If your sound does not have a frequency, it's not a note. It's just a sound. And how do you actually get the frequency? You have a nice formula. Just give to every note, just number the notes, like the note 0, note 1, note 2, note 3, etc. And it comes right from Pythagoras. That formula is, stay here, please, root of 12 and minus 49. So what's this 49? 49 is just because we'll consider the note 49 as a reference, because if we really start with 0, we won't hear anything. Times 440. So we recognize a value which is the reference for all notes, And this strength part is just to have the kind of logarithmic shape of distribution of frequencies. If you want something easier to understand, let's say we start with a sound of 440 Hertz. If you want 12 notes later, which is known in music as an octave, you will have to double this. So this property is reflected in this formula, and also if you've ever seen a piano, I mean a real piano, not an electronic one, you can remember that its shape is something like this. And so the reason for that is because the strings in the piano needs to have this kind of logarithmic shape. And so basically here there's a material, and here there's another variation because the strings are too thin and we need to start with another material, and so we need to restart the logarithmic shape. So we won't, obviously, we won't use this formula in our code. We will just use a table for this. So I actually have my table. I think, no, how could I name that? It's in, haha. That's a bad thing when you discover your code years later. Well. I don't see the file, which is quite weird because I need it. Okay. Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it in this project. I remember why. So we'll just download one, no problem. So let's just look for note frequencies. Yep, yes. Yeah, will do. So let's copy that. Okay. Remove this. Okay, and okay, so let's have float. So static float equals, okay, and let's just have Come on. Yep. Okay, good. And now we have our frequencies. So I will give you the link to my blog right now. If you want, maybe look at it on your other monitor, I don't know. Or if you want to read it before I actually cut it in. So let's do this, okay. Yep, good. Let's just define a simple song. So let's say a simple song. I will just choose random values, or maybe I can just find something better in my code. Stand here. Nope. Just use some random values. It will do. Actually, let's do some smart. So 18, 19, 20, 21. 21, 22, 24, 5, 6. Okay, let's just do this. We will need a song pointer which will iterate through the song, and let's have just a counter. Let's just say it's a time counter. And what I want to do is to read a note for half of a second and just go to the second note, half of a second, and the third note of a second. So I will just refactor my code. So get increments of the frequency. Okay. Keep the phases. Keep the frequency non-const. Okay. And we'll still need a phase. I call it phi. Command 0 and okay. Let's just start with the middle U. Okay, so what do I need to do? First, I will initialize. Okay, so I can initialize. Oh, okay. For people who just joined, I hope you have some theory about what is sound and what is foyer and what is this kind of thing. What are these kind of things? But what I'm doing actually is just trying to create sound for a simple song. So what I have the first line of the sinus is just creating a periodic sinus sound, and we on the val2 line I have another sound which is, if I remember well, which is a triangle sound, and no, it's a sawtooth. And I'm just trying to achieve to input notes and to have the sound to the sound card. Oh, hi Tugi. Didn't notice the name. Who told you about this? Who told you about the stream? So let's initialize this. I have my press table. No, singular. Well, okay, good. And what I need to do right now is just to, I need to count how much time I'm spending. So I will increment my time counter every time I output a sample. Okay, you shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have done that. A lot of people will be making fun of me after that. I don't like this. It's the IRC channel of my school. So I said I want to keep track and play each note half of a second. So remember, I say 44,100 sample represent 1 second. So if the that doesn't answer my question actually. Who told you about that? So if I'm playing for more than half of a second, let's just reset the time counter. Let's just increment the song. Let's just increment the pointer to my notes. Actually, I have 3 notes, so I can do notes plus 1 modulo 3. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. Cool. And you will still need to get, again, to get the new curve frequency and to get the new increment. And right now, what's wrong? Undeclared because it's singular. Good. You can understand the song. You can hear the song. Actually, it's too low. So let's just add 30 to every. The hell? Yeah, if you copy it, it's better. No. $80, $90, $90. What's the highest note? It's okay. The hell? What's wrong? Seriously? Okay, I don't know if you can hear. So the freq.c file is just a mapping between a number to a frequency. So what's this number? This number is like just imagine you number all the notes on a piano. So let's say this is a C note. I actually don't know. Well, actually I know. So this 440 is A. So the line just under will be A sharp, and after that there will be a C, C sharp, D, D sharp, etc. Okay, it just so that you are sure you are creating real notes, and you're not completely using an out of tune frequency. It's just for just purely musical purpose. But if you're not interested in music and want just create some sound, which is not music, you don't need it. The weird thing that okay. If I change that, the sound is not higher, and that's really strange. I did something really wrong. But what? Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, sure. Stupid. So let's just debug this. Yeah, that's why. Oh, I'm just plain stupid. I need to take the frequency. Okay. Stupid mistake. So you can actually start to hear some music. And same here. So we've created music. We have synthesized sound. If you guys have questions, just ask. If you want me to show you more things, just ask. I just don't have any better idea right now. Because it will involve either filters, either code which does not just fit in a simple file. So if you guys have questions. Yes, you can create music you appreciate, and since you're at my school, you may just ask students of the promotion before you about a project, about the subject I wrote for them, which is synthesizer. And I basically wrote MIDI MIDI file reader so that you can use any MIDI file to play. Okay, Stairway to Heaven. If you know the notes, it's doable. Maybe I can just try to get the project I was telling you. Let me. So the project is not. It just dropped. So basically, you can check the. But I don't have the notes for Stairway to Heaven. Let me think about it. Okay, no, let's do it. I don't have the notes and I won't find the project. So if you want the music you appreciate, beware. 48. Oh. Good. Okay, so you can't not appreciate this music because I composed it, okay? You will hurt my feelings if you tell me you don't like it. So I will answer your question. So how to know the notes? So if you can just read the partition is good. I mean sheet music, yeah. If you can read the sheet music, you can just read this. If you can't, well, just take a piano, take a note on it, and after that, just increment for every note on the piano, just increment the value. And you can write them down actually on the piano. So that's a way. Another way is just not to use the notes at all and to use a MIDI file. So I won't talk about 3D file because parsing them is just a hell. But you can just translate a MIDI file to your to use your synthesizer, and it will work, and you will be actually able to play songs you find on the internet in MIDI format. No, I'm not. I'm kind of part of the pedagogy. EPITA is a school where students helped other students and make subject for their exam and project and stuff. So I'm just finishing the school. I will graduate in September, just after my internship. So I'm not really in the pedagogy, but I have kind of roles of the pedagogy, but I'm not part of the staff. To give other ways to make the notes appear more real, like played by real instruments. No, you can't. That's the point of software which are thousands of gigabytes for orchestra sound banks. They just record every note of every instrument at several velocity. So you can't just with formulas like this create more realistic instruments. That's not possible. I mean, that's possible, but no one already had figured out how to do that. There was a project by a French company who tried to attempt to synthesize piano. It never worked. It never worked. Like it didn't sound like a piano either in the lower sound or in the higher sound. It just didn't work. And moreover, you don't want to use that because the sound will be too clean. And when you hear music, you actually want the sound to be a little dirty, to have, you want to hear the guy pushing the note. It just had some kind of sounds that you may want. You may want to have the reverberation of the room or the recording studio. No, so if you want to make to use real instruments, just use real instruments recorded. Before that, before 100 of gigabytes sound banks, in cheap synthesizer, they just record 1/5 of the notes, and they just pitch them by reading. So they store that. They store a sample of 1/10 of the notes. And if you press a key where the note hasn't been recorded, they just read the sound quicker or slower to vary the frequency. But if you don't have enough samples, it doesn't sound realistic, because you will hear that the sound is artificial because you stretch it to higher or lower frequency. Thanks, buddy. Actually, I will give you the link to hear it. That's kind of orchestral metal. Okay, so you have 42. So 42 for international guys here, it's another French school. And so far we only had no way to give subject IDs, but I think it's mostly because we were the first promotion ever. The starting implement student made subject. Okay, so Since 42 is led by the former director of Epitech. I'm pretty sure you will have kind of the same things we have here because Epitech did the same. And I'm pretty sure we will take this pedagogy to 42. I think it's just not yet here, but I think it will happen. You're welcome, Gabriel. Thank you for Coders TV. Gabriel is the developer of Coders TV, the very platform ever for streaming streaming code. So thank you. One more minute if you guys have other questions, and I will hand this. Okay. Have a good evening or have a nice day, depending on when you're on the globe. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I give you again the link to my blog where I post several things and where you can go further with filters. Bye guys, and thank you for listening.